So we're here on a recorded call with George, who's a friend of a very dear friend's, and he's a really cool guy. He happens to be uh, suffering from COVID recovery right now, so we'll wish him best of health, and get better soon, and get out of the beautiful beach that you're on, and back to life.
This is the wishful thinking, and I'm thinking, putting positive thoughts out
There you
there.
go. That's half the battle, actually. So we're recording this call consensually, in case we need an alibi for someone having gotten murdered or something. So we both know where we were today at 2:33 to 23 p.m. And we're talking mindless. So mindless crypto, as you saw on the website and you got intrigued, and you heard from Vinny, is a way of people getting into the crypto game. Everyone wants to get on this gold rush, right? Everybody, like from 73-year-old grandmothers to 12-year-olds playing. I had someone on Fortnite the other day who's talking about crypto. So, everyone wants in on it. Everyone wants in on Bitcoin and all that good stuff. And I had an idea that was, it's not my idea. I think it was God's idea that I'm God's partner. He implanted this idea in my mind to do it mindlessly for the world, right? Nobody understands it. Nobody wants to understand it. Those of us who are in tech and IT, half of us don't understand it, even us, right? So go explain now to some guy has much better things to do in his life what crypto mining is, and what does it mean, and where does this money come from, and all these other esoteric questions. So we eliminate all of that. We make it super, super simple and mindless. We tell you, George, you want to get in the game, it's very easy. Go to Costco, buy this laptop. We tell you which laptop to buy. You could try it out with Costco. Has been a great partner, even though they don't know it yet, because they allow you to go to Costco and buy a laptop for 90 days, try it out, and return it if it doesn't work for you, right? They'll hug you, they'll kiss you, they'll say thank you very much for your business. They'll take your laptop back, no questions asked. So you could go to Costco today, or Costco.com, and you could order, 3, 4, 10 of these laptops. You'll have to probably do it 2 at a time because they're limited. How many you could buy, because GPUs are very limited, so they try to limit the laptops that have good GPUs. But let's say you buy 2 laptops, or even just one laptop for simplistic purposes. Excuse me, here comes a cough. Yoo-hoo. I'm back. You could buy this one laptop, and what you do is you lend it to us. You lend it to Mindless Crypto LLC. It's a New York State registered LLC. You lend it to us, and whenever you want, you take it back. So you mentioned, you don't have a lot of money. You have, you want to, you want some money for your kids or whatever it is. You could do this for 6 months or 12 months, and then when your kid goes off to college, you've made some money, and then you take your asset back within a day or 2 business days of you requesting it. You get your laptop back, along with a hug and a kiss from us, thanking you for your business, just like Costco does. And then you take your laptop, and it's got intrinsic value, right? You could give it to your son who's going off to college. It's not a mining rig that now is a piece of junk worth nothing other than Bitcoin mining. So that's the whole concept. The concept is super simple. You buy, or you have laptops that you don't need, you lend them to us. We put them to work together, right? You're participating together with us. The laptops do work. We get paid for that work. That's the mining we talk about. But we're getting paid for that work every minute, every second of every day, whether you're asleep, whether you're recovering from COVID, whether you're partying, whether you're working. It's producing for us. It goes into this little bin, right? We're depositing constantly into this bin. And at the end of the month, that bin has a certain amount of crypto in it. And we pay you out based on a certain percentage of whatever's in that bin. And that's it. And it's extremely simple. You could explain it to a 5-year-old. Anytime you want, you could have your laptop back. Any questions so far?
So when it comes to crypto, are we mining a particular crypto? Is it just depending on,
It's a great question. It's a great question. And so there's 2 answers to that question. One answer would be the official mindless crypto answer. The other would be Andy, the techie, and Vinny's friend, and George's new friend answer. So first, I'll give you the mindless answer. The mindless answer is, don't worry about it. We're keeping it mindless, right? All you have to worry about is you're getting paid out every month in Bitcoin, regardless of what we do and what we mine. You're getting paid in Bitcoin. And as a matter of fact, what we do to help you keep it mindless is our algorithms and processes will select and elect the best crypto to mine. Today it might be Bitcoin, tomorrow it might be Ethereum. And then we do that, but regardless of what we do, we still pay you out in Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is like the de facto, it's the US dollar of crypto, right? It's the most accepted currency. So
Got it.
we still pay you out in Bitcoin. So every month, your Bitcoin wallet is going to get hit with that payout, regardless of what we've mined. You know, tomorrow it might
Got
be
it.
we're mining salmon. You don't care about what we're mining. You just care about getting your payout every month. Now,
Got
as
it.
the techie friend of yours and Vinny's, I would say, yeah, right now we're focusing on Bitcoin and Ethereum because that's really where the profits are. And you know, it's very easy for us to shift because it's, you know, it's our algorithms and we're it's our, you know, we are maintaining the machines, we're babysitting them, we're making sure we're not overclocking them up to wazoo and killing them because it's your asset. So we try to also be mindful of the fact that we're not gonna hurt you at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, you're gonna take these laptops and liquidate them somehow, right? You're gonna either sell them on eBay or use them for your business or whatever. And we don't wanna kill the laptops because we're overclocking them to the point where they're, you know, at 120 degrees centigrade Celsius, where they shouldn't be, right? So we try to just babysit them, manage them, tweak them, and fine tune them for you, for us, to maximize the profits for us at the same time not hurting your asset.
Okay.
I hope that answered the question.
Yes, yes, that makes sense. And I love the mindless part of it though, because it makes sense. I didn't think about that one too.
Any other question before we jump into the numbers game?
There was one question. So when it comes to the lifespan of these laptops, what's the longevity of, or how, you know, is it that, okay, if I purchase a laptop today, you guys get it within, you guys only use it for 90 days, and after 90 days or 3 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years? How
Right.
does that?
Another great question. So we keep running it until you tell us you want it back. Basically, we'll run it for, you know, 70 years, as long as it's running. Right? It may die 5 years later. We have no control over that. Some people say, well, you know, that's one of the risks. Actually, if you look on the website, one of the risks is, well, what happens to the machine? Like, what if the machine fails? And so there's ways to mitigate that, right? Buy with Amex, you get double the protection and all that good stuff. But yeah, as long as it's running and it's producing, then we'll run it. Whenever you want it back, you can have it back. But as long as it's running, we'll run it.
Okay.
Anything else, or should I screen share the?
Yeah, let's do the screen share. I think I have more questions if.
Oh yeah, sure. So this is the sheet that you're talking about that you received.
Yep.
You see it?
Yep.
Okay. Give me a second. And it's actually very intuitive and straightforward. Once I explain to you what the numbers and where they come from, I think you'll see that it's very intuitive. So should I zoom in, or this is you see your?
No, this is fine. It's fine.
See it? Okay, great. Because some people are on a phone and they can't see the details.
No, I'm on my laptop.
Okay. So let me just kill. How do I do this? Formula. Okay, so now we see the whole thing actually. Okay, great. So it's very straightforward. You have rigs. Rigs are a synonym for laptop. Okay, going down this column, you see my mouse, right?
Yep.
Okay, going down this column is the number of rigs you have with us. So at any given month, when we do a payout, we look at the number of rigs that are active with us, even if they weren't active for the entire month. So let's say at the very end of the month, right before the payout, you had only one rig, but you decided, you know what, Andy, I'm going to do 40 rigs. I just delivered 40 rigs to you and they're live. So when we do the payout, you'll actually get this revenue share. I'm sorry, this revenue share, 36.40, instead of the base revenue share, which is 30%. Okay, so we look at the number. So why do we do that? We want to incentivize you to do more laptops with us, because it makes our lives easier to manage one George with 40 laptops than it is 40 Georges with one laptop each. That's the reason. That's the bottom line reason.
Yep.
All right, so let's just assume you're going to do only one laptop. Andy, I got no money. All I have is $1,000. So we're specifying. This model is looking at. Hold on one sec.
Yep.
What happened to the other one? Okay, never mind. Let's do a real life actually. Let's do this MSI GF665. I think is one of the links I sent you, and if not, then it's fine. Doesn't matter.
I saw two. One was like a $1,200 one was a $1,700 one.
Yeah, that we had a bunch of customers. Actually, on Friday, they Best Buy had this on sale for $200. So it was $900. So the cheaper the machine is, the better your returns are, obviously. So this model is one we generate for them, and so we'll look at that. But it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's going to be plus minus a few percentage points. So this laptop down here, cost per rig, it's $900 for the laptop. After tax is $979.
Okay.
We go up here and your first rig is $979, right? That's your base buy-in, if you will. Okay,
Investment. Okay.
right. Now, what does this laptop do? This laptop, we put it to work. I think you understand the idea of Bitcoin mining, but if you don't, and for those who are listening later that don't, mining is very simple. We take your one laptop that you lent to us and we put it to work. And the work it's doing, it's many, many millions of calculations per second. They're not regular kinds of calculations. They're special ones called hash calculations. And those hash calculations are done very well by GPUs, by graphical processor units, not by the CPU, the Intel i7 that inside that we hear about the CPU. So the GPUs do this very well. And that's why we use these laptops that are high-end gaming laptops that have high-end GPUs. So that one machine doing that work at the end of the day is going to produce, we know it's going to produce this much Bitcoin. We know it because it's already running. We have this running at Mindless, right? This machine is running at Mindless. And so we know it produces a certain amount of Bitcoin per day, right? This is the Bitcoin it produces, 0.000547 per day. Now, Bitcoin on December 24th, the value of Bitcoin was 52,632. And at that exchange rate, this amount of Bitcoin produced per day for your laptop turns out to be $2.88 per day. Times 365 comes out to $1,051 per year that this machine is going to produce when we put it to work, right?
Okay.
You take 1051 and you multiply that by the revenue share that we offer you. Mindless is offering you 30%. Remember, we said that it's going to keep dropping stuff into the bucket. And at the end of every month, we do a payout. We give you 30% of whatever was accumulated in that bucket, whether it's one laptop or 1,000 laptops. Whatever's in there, you get 30% payout of that accumulation in that bucket. So now at the end of year one, which is this entire yellow region on the sheet, is the end of year one. We should probably rename this end of year one. Okay, but the end of year one, your laptop is now only worth $889. Why? Because we depreciated it 10% per year.
Okay.
Now, some people say, well, that's not right. It's going to be 20% per year. Other people, if you're in tech, you probably recognize that if you bought this laptop a year ago, you could probably sell it for the same amount of money today or even more. Because of the rarity of GPUs and gaming laptops, it's very rare. And so if you look on eBay, you'll see machines that are selling basically at retail price, even though they're a year used. But whatever, we depreciated 10% just for it to be a conservative model for you as the buy-in, as the client. And so we assume that at the end of year one, your asset is now only worth $889. But it happened, your 30% revenue share was $315 during that year. So at the end of the year, what is your total value for your buy-in was 1204. You add the asset value plus how much you received in revenue. The total is 1204, right? We divide that by your base of 979, you get an annual return of 23% per year. Now, mind you, I've been in business since I'm 15 years old, believe it or not. My brother went to Israel to get married and then dumped the entire family business and honor on my shoulders. So I would go from Hillcrest High School. You remember Hillcrest High School in Jamaica? I would go from Hillcrest. I would finish at 3 o'clock. I would take the subway to Manhattan and I would go coding.
Yeah, they're saying how eucalyptus oils or teas to take.
I'm having honey, so I don't know.
I was taking also some ginger, turmeric, but
it's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
It's good for the breathing, a little bit of coffee never hurt anyone. So I was saying, I would go from Hillcrest to Manhattan. I would code. So I've been in business for a long time. And then I went to my brother's computer business and coding and IT and servers and all that stuff.
Okay.
And I've done many different kinds of investments. I personally have never seen, and I'm not saying that because this is my baby, I have never seen an investment opportunity or a buy-in or a participation, whatever you want to call it, that offers this kind of rich returns for virtually no, let's just call it low risk, right? If I were to pause the recording now, I would off the table and off the record will tell you that's virtually nil the risk. I'm very comfortable taking my mom's life savings and investing it in this, because we'll look at the risks in a minute, but when you compare that to like a real estate investment that I got, I lost $500,000 on a real estate investment with somebody in the community like several years ago. And so you look at that, you give your money to someone, it's 5 to 10 years, till you see your money back. You can never get that. You can't cash out at a moment's notice like you can for Mindless. What happens in the interim? You got to buy a building, buy the right building. You got to demolish it. You got to build it, rent rolls, all this mess. We have none of that. You give us a laptop the first day, it's already produced for you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And anytime you want out, it's fine. And you said like, you're not, we have people that are asking, how could I do this on a level of like, I want to give you $100,000, and we're trying to solve that dilemma of they don't want to go to Costco and buy 100 laptops, obviously. And then your problem is that you don't want to do too much. So we're trying to solve both those problems, right? George, you could go do this for 1 laptop if that's what you're comfortable. You could do it for 5 laptops, whatever. And then it's fluid, right? Your situation may change. You may, like, your kid is getting married, so you pull 10 laptops, you pay for his wedding, and then afterwards you do, you give us another 10 laptops back to replenish that. So it's very fluid and dynamic. You're not locked in. The numbers are phenomenal, in my opinion. Is there risk? Yeah, sure there is. I know we speak about some of the risks on the website. I'm sure there's other risks maybe that we haven't thought of, but we try to think of all of it and be very transparent. So there's, rig failure risk. So you can mitigate that by, doing additional warranty. Pull your rigs within the warranty period, sell them and then buy new ones to replenish so that you're always in warranty, kind of thing, sort of like a car lease. Right?
Okay.
You don't never want to be out of your 3-year window of warranty with your car lease. So, don't extend it beyond the 3 years. Does the rig depreciate more than 10%? We think not, and historically it's not, but yeah, it could. So it'll be 20%. So your returns will be, you'll tell me, Andy, it's actually 22% depreciation. So I'll change this number right now live with you on the call. Look what happens to your returns, end of year 1 returns right here, column H3. As soon as I hit enter, you just dropped from 23% to 12%, because now your laptop depreciated, instead of 10%, 22%, which is unrealistic, but you're still making 12% per year, which is better than anything else you would get out there.
Right.
But I almost pulled the trigger with a friend of mine they're huge in real estate. I believe it was 12% per year, hard money loan. And again, like I said, all the things we said, all the risks and all the, you can't get your money out and all that good stuff. That's in a nutshell. The other huge advantage that may factor in for you even before the end of the year, actually, is this is a huge, and I'm not giving you tax advice. You have to consult your accountant, but this may be a huge tax benefit, because if you're investing $2,000 or $1,000 somewhere, let's say you're buying stock today, then it's an investment and you have cap gains tax and all that stuff. But here, what you're doing is you're actually buying equipment. So this is a CapEx, it's a capital expenditure, which you could probably write off as an expense, business expense. So a lot of people are seeing the advantage of doing that as a tax benefit, additional benefit, right? So you're basically getting the rig is for free, basically, because you're writing it off.
Got it. Okay.
And then years 2 and 3 are just, a repetition of years 1. So we're not doing any fancy accrual or, anything like that. It's just, year 2 is double year 1 as far as returns, year 3 is triple. And at the end of the year 3, it's the same idea. Your laptop's depreciated now 10%, 10%, 10%. You have a total revenue during the 3 years of 1655, which translates to 70% return on your money, on your base. Any questions while I breathe?
So yeah, and I totally get the rig, which obviously that was the first question I had, I think, in the beginning. The year in return. I mean, the only thing I could say is looking at the value of the Bitcoin. I mean, I know that you'll always produce it. So you'll always be paid out in Bitcoin, which could also, again, fluctuate. But that, at the end of the day, the goal is the goal always just keeping your money in Bitcoin, right? Is that what like
you ask a lot of great questions, by the way. I love this meeting because some people are just like too boring. You're asking all the beautiful questions. The end game depends on you, right? So we actually have customers whose end game, there is no end game. They take their payout every month and they spend it on milk. right? Because you could take your Bitcoin wallet, go to the supermarket, you could link it up to a debit card. There's companies that link up a Bitcoin wallet to a debit card, and you could just swipe your debit card, buy milk and eggs and steak. Okay, that's one play, right? There are those that take your Bitcoin that you get in your Coinbase wallet every month and convert it to US dollars because they don't believe in the value of Bitcoin increasing. There are those who buy Ethereum. I have another guy who's like, Andy, I gotta buy XRP. XRP, and all he says, XRP, XRP. How do I get? I said, listen, leave me alone with your XRP. Figure it out yourself. We're paying out in Bitcoin. Do whatever you want with it. You believe in
Right, right.
XRP? Go buy XRP.
Right,
Right.
right.
And we actually have a client, and we're almost closing this deal. You're not gonna believe this because I didn't believe it. The guy says to me, Andy, I believe in the upside of Bitcoin. I don't care about the laptop and the computer. As a matter of fact, I have 4 spare DL380s sitting collecting dust. I'm going to buy the highest end. Tell me what GPUs to buy. I'm buying the high end GPUs. We're going to fill them up with as many GPUs this 380 takes. I think it's 3 or 4 slots. Each
Oh,
GPU
wow.
is like $3,000, right? So he's basically buying in each DL380, a 2U. He's going to spend like what does that come out to? Like $15,000, let's say, per DL380. He has 4 of them, right? So that's what, $60,000. And then on top of it, he says, Andy, I'm also going to let you use my rack space at my colo, so you don't have to worry about electricity and anything else, right? He's throwing all of that in, and we're going to manage all this. Why? And he says to me like this. He said, Andy, if you ever say the word computer, server, or laptop to me again, the deal is completely off. He said, I don't care what you do with these DL380s. You could burn them, you could donate them to a charity, you could do whatever you want with them. I don't care. All I want is let's produce as much Bitcoin as we can, because I believe Bitcoin today is at 50,000. I believe in 2 years it's going to be at 500,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's his play, right? I happen to actually disagree with him. I don't think Bitcoin is going to $500,000 in 2 years, but
No.
who am I? I'm not a
But
prophet, neither are you, and neither is he.
yeah.
So that's there's a huge range of the end game for people depending on who they are. But what I do want to tell you, which is very, very interesting, is the following. Because people ask the following question, which is also a great question, which you didn't think of. You didn't think of this one.
I do have one. I'm waiting for it. So do you want me to ask you before you say it, or?
I'll give you credit as if you asked this one. How about that?
All right.
For those of us watching, George actually asked this question through a chat, and I'm just pretending it's my question.
Right.
The question is like this. I could take the $1,000 today that I'm going to give to Mindless, and I could just buy BTC with it. What do I need you for? I believe in the upside of Bitcoin, and I'll just buy Bitcoin with it. And I don't need you, and I don't need to wait, 3 years for break even with the laptop and all this other nonsense. What do I need this nonsense for? And the answer is as follows. Yeah, you could do that. You could definitely do that. And if you believe in the upside of Bitcoin and you're just playing the Bitcoin market, you should do that. You shouldn't give me the laptop for sure. But here's the problem. And I have friends that did this and they got burned big time. When you buy Bitcoin at 50, let's say you buy 1 Bitcoin today at $52,000, right? You have how much potential downside do you have to that transaction? You have $52,000 worth of downside potential, right? You have upside potential, right? But you also have the $52,000 worth of downside. But what you're doing with Mindless, instead of that, like the analogy is, you go and you buy salmon. Salmon is worth $52,000 today per pound, right? So you believe in salmon and it's great fish and it's going to be double that in a year, right? So you go and you buy salmon for $52,000. You buy 1 pound of salmon, right? But that salmon could crash tomorrow because flounder now is hot, right? So your salmon could be worth half of that in a month, right? So you have downside. What we're saying is, instead of don't buy salmon, right? Instead of that, give us fishing equipment. Let's buy fishing equipment with your $52,000, and let's buy fishing nets and fishing gear and fishing boats. And we're gonna fish for salmon. Yeah, today salmon is maybe worth $52,000. Tomorrow it's gonna be worth $70,000. It's gonna be worth $30,000. Who cares how much it's worth?
Right.
It's all upside. Because we fished with your equipment. Your equipment is preserving its value more or less, 1-to-1, or you're losing 10% per year. It's negligible, right? It's got value. Your fishing boat preserve its value. And any salmon you catch, it's just pure upside, right? Because you caught that salmon. You didn't pay for it with your hard-earned dollars. That's
So
why
you guys are pivoting at this point too, right? So depending on what the upside is, you said between Bitcoin and Ethereum, whatever's hot. Like, so in other words, are you mining? Do you shift to say, okay, look, Bitcoin is down, going down. Let's shift our focus on Ethereum to mine some Ethereum,
Yeah,
or
so we'll shift it based on what we feel is the most has the most potential for us. As you know, obviously we have a common interest, right? We want to fill that bucket as much as we can during the month. So we'll do whatever it takes to do that. Sometimes it means mining Ethereum. Actually, if Bitcoin drops and Ethereum increases, it's advantageous for us if we're mining Ethereum, right? So in the short term. So
right?
yeah, we'll do whatever we feel is the path to go. But again, at the end of the day, as far as your perspective and your context is, you're getting X amount of Bitcoin per month, regardless of what we mine. We could be mining salmon for all you care.
Right. No, which is good because I don't want to
Right.
be worrying about it.
Exactly.
I don't want to focus on what the market is doing today and thinking about, hey, what is mindless doing today? Or no, that I mean, again, I think if the business model, like you said, is mindless, and yeah, I think that's kind of would be nice to say, like
Yeah,
uh,
and you hit it right on the nose. Like I go in the mornings, I go to synagogue, like to pray. I'm an observant Jew, so after services, we'll just hang out, have some coffee, whatever. And the guys that are in the game, they're like, "Did you see what happened yesterday? Bitcoin." And I'm in this I'm like heading this business that has a lot of customers that are Bitcoin based, essentially, right? And I could care less what Bitcoin is doing.
right.
I'm not losing sleep. Neither are my customers, right? They're happy because they got the bit again. They fished for the salmon. They didn't buy the salmon, so they're not
Right.
worried about salmon markets collapsing tomorrow.
Yep. Okay. Right. So I guess the question I didn't ask before when it comes to the hardware, now, don't they sell like these devices already that are GPUs and
Yeah, yeah.
you know
Mining rigs. Yeah, mining
mining
rigs.
rigs, right?
Why don't we
Well,
use those?
no, do you or do you? What's the difference between those and
I would love it if instead of buying laptops and delivering to us, you would buy rigs and deliver them to us. And I would love that. But here's why I think you shouldn't, because again, I in a year, I don't want you to go to Vinny and to the rest of the world and say Andy is a schmo and he screwed me. So here's why we do laptops. So let's assume you do the rigs, right? You understand the model with the laptops. Let's assume now it's the rigs. So you
right?
go out and you spend $10,000 on a mining rig that could produce like 1,000 times a laptop of what you would deliver to us, right? You give it to us, and I thank you and I give you a kiss because I love you so much, because my 1U of rack space that costs me X dollars is much better utilized than your laptop, right? Your laptop is wasting my 1U of rack space. So that one rig that's 1U or 2Us, right, is a lot more efficient for me.
Right.
But what happens at the end of the year that you spend $10,000 on this rig, we produce a crap load, excuse the French, of crypto together, right? And we got rich together, so to speak, on a micro level. Now you say, Andy, my son's going to college or my son's getting married. I'd like my rig back. Sure, here you go. Same deal, right? Here's your rig back. What are you going to do with that rig? You can't do anything with it. The only thing you could do with this thing is mine. And you could sell it, resell it, and repurpose it only for the purpose of mining. So that $10,000 investment of yours is now going to be worth $5,000, $3,000, depending on what's going on in the world, right? It's going to lose. It's for sure not going to preserve its value like the laptop will. So,
Got
and
it.
you can definitely not give it to your son to go to college with it. Yeah, maybe he'll be cool with the girls, but he won't be able to use it for actual schoolwork, right? So that's why we specify to preserve your interest and for you to come back as a customer. It's in your best interest and therefore our best interest for us to use this laptop model, because the laptop's always going to have intrinsic value, right? It might not be worth $1,000, but it's worth maybe $900, $800. If it's worth on eBay, if it's not worth that much, maybe it's down to $500. So you don't sell it. Maybe you use it yourself in your own business, or you give it to someone as a donation, or give it to your child, right? It's a sick laptop, right? I just actually replaced my main laptop. Used to be this piece of junk, which I thought I was
Surf.
so happy. I had a Surface Pro and I was dying. It couldn't keep up with me, right? And I'm like, my brother Alan, who got me into this whole crypto business, he's a genius. He's the real genius in the family. He's like, what is this Surface garbage? I'm like, dude, it's a good machine. It's got an Intel. He says, do you know even web surfing, just using Chrome, do you know how GPU intensive that is just to render those screens? I'm like, dude, he's right. So now I'm on this thing. It's a it's a behemoth. It's an MSI GE76. It cost me $2,000, and I'm like a kid in a candy store. While I'm talking to you, I'm mining on it, and I could probably be playing Fortnite on it at the same time, and you wouldn't even feel it.
So I made being in IT and starting on the support side of it, I've stopped buying any Microsoft those devices
Right,
now because I got tired of the support. Again, just the fact that, okay, now I got to figure out what's wrong with my laptop. I got to figure this out. Like, and then, it's the same way, people are that want control when it comes to Androids and apps. So I'm
right,
more an
right,
Apple person, right?
right.
So I haven't really gotten into purchasing any type of laptops when it comes to Office, Microsoft laptops. But
Yeah. No, I hear
uh,
what you're saying. I had like 6 months ago, I had my camera just decided to die on this laptop, but and it wasn't a hardware death, it was a software death. I like installed an update or something and it died. And no, and I spent a day on it and I couldn't figure out, what driver messed it up. So I said, first time in my life, I reached out to support, Microsoft support. You know what he's the first thing they said to me and the last thing, like they wouldn't go anywhere else. Yeah, you gotta re-virgin the machine, basically. I'm like, are you
like,
out of your minds? Are you out of? Do you know how much work it's going to take me to get my machine back to the state that I like it in? If I do that, just because you can't figure out like how to help me in a real way, and I figured out myself at the end with some driver I had to like uninstall, reinstall for 40 times, and it got it to work. But it's ridiculous what they. That's all they do, like reinitialize.
that's where I can say when it comes to the beauty of Apple and all that stuff. But again, so that defeats the purpose because I do know that when it comes to it has its other purposes. Um, okay, yeah, no, this is good. This is definitely helpful. I definitely like the idea and the potential of it because it gives me an I like the fact of saying, hey, you purchased this laptop and it's still yours, so you could say you could take it back whenever you want. So yeah, I think that's something, I'm gonna look at the links that you sent. I did have a question when it comes to uh the supports, like the warranty, I guess. So when you buy it from Costco, they're giving you 90-day warranty, right? Does the manufacturers themselves extend it as, I think that's kind of what my concern is here, that after the 90-day warranty, how much is it going to cost me with the extending warranty?
Yeah,
Uh,
no. So the 90 days is not the warranty. So you misunderstood. The 90 days is just the ability for you to return it to Costco in case you don't like what you see for that 90 days with Mindless. Like,
got
oh,
it.
Andy promised me this, and that's not happening. So I'm just taking it back and returning.
Got it. Okay.
But the warranty is all these machines come with a 1 year warranty standard, and then Costco, like I know, someone was telling me if you use a Costco card, they automatically double it for you. So you just have to look into. I honestly don't know, and I don't want to get into like promising you that aspect. You just have to figure that out yourself. But I know like Amex will automatically, regardless of where you buy from, Amex has like a double warranty kind of thing. My Amex Business Platinum, for example, has that. So does
Okay.
Chase Sapphire Reserve has, I think, something similar. Uh, and then Costco has their own. So you just have to figure that out. And then for maybe you'll buy the additional warranty if that makes sense. I never buy when they try to upsell you for warranty. I've never bought that in my life, so I don't
Neither
know.
have I, right? No, I get it, but here, clearly my goal is to say, let's make it work. I don't have any other objectives of saying, hey, well, I'm going to need it back within a year, 2 years. No, the goal is just that's all it's going to be used for, just for it to be
Right, right.
so.
So now the
Okay.
last thing I have to ask you is they taught me, and when I was selling in elementary school, they would have us go selling chocolates to raise money for school and like in middle school, right? You probably did the same thing, right? So
Yeah.
they taught us the most important thing you have to say, like after everything else, you have to say the following. You know what it is?
No, I
You have to
don't.
say, you have to like look him in the eye and say, how many would you like? So I'm asking you, how many laptops would you like?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna look at the one, obviously. My biggest thing is from all of this is that worst case scenario is like if I do need the laptop back, what am I gonna need the laptop for?
Yeah, exactly.
Like so for me to say I'm gonna invest in 2 or 5 or I think the I guess like, I think I would like to start with just one. I think that's for sure.
Sure,
Um,
whatever
um,
makes sense for you.
At least for right now. Yeah, I mean, and I only saying it because I guess also we're still recording, right?
Hold on,
But
I can stop that. Hold on.
no, 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 no.